Waitress poured boiling coffee on Barron Trump's face, but she had no idea he owns the restaurant. It was a quiet morning at Marble Heights Diner, the kind of small, bustling restaurant that catered to regulars who came in for their daily dose of coffee and comfort. The clinking of dishes and soft hum of conversation filled the air as sunlight streamed through the windows, bouncing off the red vinyl booths. At table 6, a young man sat alone, scrolling through his phone. He looked unassuming in his black hoodie, blending in with the early morning crowd. His calm demeanor and casual attire made it easy for him to go unnoticed, just the way he liked it. He glanced at the menu, then at the waitress approaching his table. Lana, a sharp-tongued server with short-cropped hair and a no-nonsense attitude, barely looked at him as she placed a cup of coffee on the table. "Anything else?" she asked, already turning away before he could respond. "No, thank you," he said politely, offering a small smile. Lana gave him a quick glance, noting his young face and relaxed posture. Probably some college kid, she thought, sipping coffee while killing time. She didn't know she was serving Barron Trump. Barron took a sip of his coffee, savoring the quiet moment. This diner was one of his favorites, partly because he owned it, though he rarely let anyone know that. For him, it was a place to step away from the noise of his high-profile life and just enjoy being anonymous for a while. The staff had no idea who he was. He never demanded special treatment or revealed his connection to the place. He liked observing how things ran, taking mental notes on what could be improved, but never interfering. Today, though, was about to take an unexpected turn. Lana returned with a pot of fresh coffee, weaving through the tables with practiced ease. She was in a hurry, the lunch crowd would start arriving soon, and the last thing she needed was to waste time on refills. "Let me top you off," she said, not waiting for Barron's response as she tilted the pot toward his cup. In her haste, she misjudged the angle. The scalding coffee splashed out, landing squarely on Barron's face and arm. Barron flinched, gasping as the burning liquid soaked his sleeve and stung his skin. The world seemed to slow down for a moment. The hum of the diner quieted as heads turned toward the scene. Lana's eyes widened in shock. "Oh my God! I'm so sorry," she blurted, her face flushing red. Barron dabbed at his sleeve with a napkin, trying to play it off. "It's okay. Just an accident." But Lana, panicked and defensive, quickly shifted her tone. "Well, you shouldn't have been sitting so close to the edge of the table," she snapped, her nerves getting the better of her. "It's not like I did it on purpose." A murmur ran through the nearby tables. Several customers exchanged awkward glances, unsure how to react. Barron's calm expression didn't change. He had faced far worse in the public eye than an accidental coffee spill. "It's really fine," he said, his voice steady. "No need to make a big deal out of it." But Lana wasn't done. Embarrassment had fully taken hold now, and she doubled down. "Maybe you should be more careful next time," she added, crossing her arms. "You're lucky it wasn't worse." By now, the entire diner was watching. The tension was thick, hanging in the air like an invisible weight. Enter the manager, Ron, a middle-aged man with a weathered face and a sharp eye for trouble. He strode toward the table, his gaze shifting from Barron to Lana. "What's going on here?" he asked, his tone more curious than accusatory. Lana pointed at Barron, still clutching the coffee pot. "Nothing serious. Just a little spill." Ron glanced at Barron, his eyes narrowing as recognition dawned. His heart skipped a beat. He knew exactly who the young man was. "Barron," Ron said, his voice dropping to a respectful tone. "Are you okay? Did you get burned?" Lana blinked, confused by the sudden shift in the manager's attitude. "Wait, you know him?" Ron gave her a sharp look. "Of course I do." Barron raised a hand, stopping him mid-sentence. "It's really not a big deal. No need to cause a scene." But it was too late. Lana's face drained of color as realization set in. The young man she had just spilled boiling coffee on wasn't some random customer. He was Barron Trump, the owner of the very restaurant where she worked. The silence in the diner was deafening. Lana took a step back, her hands trembling. "Ooh, you own this place?" she stammered. Barron nodded slowly. "Yes, but please don't worry about it. Everyone makes mistakes." Ron cleared his throat, trying to smooth things over. "Lana, maybe you should take a break for a few minutes? Lana nodded, too stunned to argue. She hurried toward the kitchen, her heart pounding in her chest. Barron stayed calm, despite the chaos swirling around him. This wasn't the first time he had dealt with an awkward situation, and he knew it wouldn't be the last. He glanced at Ron, who was still hovering nearby. "Seriously, I'm fine," Barron said. "No harm done." Ron shook his head, visibly embarrassed. "I'm really sorry about that. I had no idea she didn't recognize you." "It's not her fault," Barron said, his voice gentle. "Let her know I'm not angry. Accidents happen." Ron nodded, grateful for Barron's patience. "I'll make sure she knows." Back in the kitchen, Lana paced nervously, her mind racing. She couldn't believe what had just happened. She had not only spilled coffee on the owner of the restaurant, but she had also snapped at him in front of everyone. Her job was as good as gone. But a few minutes later, Ron appeared with a calm expression. "Barron wants you to know it's okay," he said. "He's not mad." Lana stared at him in disbelief. "He's not firing me?" Ron chuckled. "No. In fact, he said accidents happen. Just go back out there and apologize. You'll be fine." A few moments later, Lana approached Barron's table, her heart in her throat. "I'm really sorry about earlier," she said, her voice soft. "I shouldn't have reacted like that. Thank you for not firing me." Barron smiled, his easygoing nature shining through. "Apology accepted. Like I said, it's no big deal. We all have bad days." Lana breathed a sigh of relief. "Thanks. I promise I'll be more careful from now on." "I know you will," Barron said. "And for what it's worth, you're a great waitress. Don't let one mistake ruin your day." Lana nodded, still stunned by Barron's calm demeanor and unexpected kindness. She had braced herself for a harsh lecture or even immediate dismissal, but instead, she stood in front of a man who radiated forgiveness and understanding. It was disarming, to say the least. "I really appreciate it," she said, shifting awkwardly. "You're not like most people, especially someone who owns a place like this." Barron leaned back in his seat, his hands resting calmly on the table. "I've learned that how you handle mistakes, your own and others, says a lot about who you are. We all mess up. What matters is how we move on." His words hung in the air, soft yet powerful. Lana felt the weight of them, something stirring inside her that she hadn't felt in a long time, gratitude, but also a desire to be better, kinder. The diner slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but there was a noticeable shift in the air. The staff, who had been whispering nervously after the incident, straightened up, stealing glances at Barron as they went about their work. Ron, the manager, walked from table to table, offering warm reassurances to customers that everything was under control. Lana returned to her station, pouring coffee for an older couple in the corner booth. Her hands were steadier now, her focus sharper. She caught herself replaying Barron's words in her head. Mistakes didn't have to define her, or anyone, for that matter. Maybe it was time to stop being so hard on herself. As she moved through her shift, Barron remained at his table, quietly observing. He had always enjoyed watching the staff work, how they interacted with customers, how they handled pressure. This time, though, he wasn't just observing for business reasons. He was curious to see how Lana would bounce back from the morning's chaos. To his quiet satisfaction, she did so with grace and determination. Her movements were more thoughtful, her interactions with customers noticeably warmer. When a new customer asked for a recommendation, Lana smiled genuinely, suggesting her personal favorite, the blueberry pancakes. She even laughed when a young boy spilled his drink, calmly cleaning it up and reassuring him that it wasn't a big deal. It was subtle, but the change was there. Later that afternoon, Barron called Ron over. "Mind if we chat in your office for a second?" "Of course," Ron said, leading him through the narrow hallway to a small but well-kept office in the back. Ron closed the door behind them, his face still showing a trace of anxiety. "Is everything okay?" Barron smiled. "Relax. Everything's fine. I just wanted to talk about the team here." Ron sat across from him, nodding. "Sure. What's on your mind?" "Lana," Barron said, leaning forward. "She's got potential. I've been watching her today. She had a rough start, but the way she turned it around, there's something there." Ron raised an eyebrow. You think so? Absolutely, Barron said. She's got the right attitude when she's in the zone. She just needs a little guidance. I think she could grow into something more here, maybe take on more responsibility down the line. Ron considered this for a moment, then nodded. You're right. She's a hard worker and she cares about her job. I guess I've just never thought about her in a leadership role. Well, think about it, Barron said. Sometimes the best leaders come from the most unexpected places. Meanwhile, Lana stood by the register, counting receipts when Ron returned from his meeting with Barron. His face was thoughtful, his lips pressed into a thin line as if he were weighing his words. Hey, Lana, he said, crossing his arms. I want to talk to you about something. Her heart sank again. Oh no. Maybe Barron changed his mind. Maybe I'm in trouble after all. But what came next surprised her. You've been doing a great job since the incident, Ron said. Barron noticed it too. He thinks you have leadership potential. Lana blinked, caught completely off guard. Wait, what? Ron smiled. He's impressed with how you handled things today. So am I. We'd like to start training you for a supervisory role. It won't be immediate, but I think you've got what it takes. Lana stared at him, speechless. For a moment, she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Just a few hours ago, she thought she was on the verge of losing her job. Now they were talking about giving her a promotion. But I don't know what to say, she finally managed. Thank you. Really, don't thank me, Ron said. Thank Barron. He's the one who saw something in you. Later that evening, as the diner began to wind down, Lana approached Barron's table again. The lunch rush had faded, and only a handful of regulars remained, sipping their coffee and reading newspapers. Mind if I sit for a second? She asked, holding a fresh pot of coffee. Of course, Barron said, motioning to the seat across from him. Lana poured him a refill, then sat down, resting her hands on the table. I heard what you told Ron. About the promotion. Barron nodded. You earned it? She hesitated, searching for the right words. I've worked a lot of jobs before this one, and most bosses, they don't notice the little things. They don't care if you're having a bad day or if you mess up. They just see you as replaceable. Barron listened carefully, his eyes steady and encouraging. But you're different, she continued. You didn't just forgive me, you gave me a second chance. That doesn't happen often. Barron smiled. Everyone deserves a second chance. What matters is what you do with it. Lana nodded, her throat tightening. Well, I'm going to make the most of it. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Barron said. Just remember to pay it forward. When someone else makes a mistake, give them the same understanding you got today. Lana stood, feeling lighter than she had in months. I will. Thank you. The next morning, the diner felt different. The staff moved with more purpose, their interactions warmer and more genuine. Lana's new sense of confidence was contagious, spreading to her coworkers like a ripple through the team. Customers noticed it too. The service was more attentive, the smiles more sincere. Barron watched it all unfold from his usual spot at table 6. He knew he wouldn't be able to visit as often once word got out about his connection to the diner, but that didn't bother him. He had left his mark in a way that mattered far more than just being the owner. As Barron got up to leave, Lana caught him by the door. Hey, she said, if you ever need a refill, coffee's on me. Barron laughed. I'll hold you to that. With a final nod, he stepped out into the morning light, the door swinging shut behind him. The city bustled around him, full of endless possibilities and stories waiting to unfold. He tucked his hands into his pockets, a quiet smile playing on his lips. The following week brought a transformation at Marble Heights Diner that no one had expected. The once chaotic, sometimes tense atmosphere began to soften. Regulars noticed how much smoother things seemed, how the staff worked more closely together, how their smiles felt genuine rather than forced. It all began with Lana. Since her talk with Barron, something had shifted in her. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She saw herself as part of something bigger, a piece of a well-oiled machine that thrived on teamwork and positive energy. Barron's faith in her had been like a spark, lighting a fire that burned with renewed purpose. She showed up early for her shifts now, helping new hires get settled and offering advice without hesitation. When the kitchen got slammed, she jumped in to help run plates, not because she had to, but because she wanted to keep things running smoothly. The rest of the team noticed and followed her lead. One busy afternoon, a commotion stirred in the diner's front booth. An elderly man struggled to get up, his face pale and clammy. His wife cried out for help, and within seconds, Lana was at their side, crouching down to steady him. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked, her voice calm but concerned. The man shook his head weakly, clutching his chest. "But I don't feel so good," he gasped. Without hesitation, Lana turned to the nearest staff member. "Call 911, now," she ordered. The entire diner seemed to hold its breath as Lana stayed with the man, speaking to him gently, keeping him alert. "You're going to be fine. Help is on the way," she said, her hand resting reassuringly on his shoulder. Moments later, paramedics rushed in. As they loaded the man onto a stretcher, one of the paramedics paused to speak with Lana. "You did good," he said. Kept him calm and conscious. "That might have saved his life." Lana nodded, her heart still racing. She watched the ambulance pull away, the gravity of what had just happened settling in. Around her, the diner burst into spontaneous applause. Customers clapped, some even standing to cheer. Ron walked over, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You were incredible, Lana. I've never been prouder to have you on this team." Lana looked around, overwhelmed by the support. A small tear slid down her cheek, but she quickly wiped it away, smiling through the rush of emotions. Later that evening, Barron received a text from Ron. "Your instinct about Lana was spot on. She stepped up today in a way I've rarely seen. The staff's morale has never been higher. You need to drop by soon." Barron smiled at his phone. He couldn't help but feel proud. Lana had proven herself not just as a great employee but as a leader. What had started as an awkward accident had turned into a story of growth, strength, and redemption. He texted back, "I'll be there tomorrow." The next morning, Barron walked into the diner, blending in as usual. Lana was behind the counter, chatting with a couple of regulars. She glanced up and froze when she saw him. "Hey," she called, a wide smile spreading across her face. "What brings you in today?" Barron chuckled. "Just checking in. Ron said there was a bit of excitement yesterday." Lana's smile faded slightly. "Yeah, it got pretty intense. But the man's okay. I called the hospital later, and they said he's stable." "That's great to hear," Barron said. "I'm glad you were there to help." "Me too," Lana said, her voice soft. "It made me realize how much I care about this place. It's not just a job anymore. It feels like a part of me." Barron nodded. "That's how you know you're in the right place." Over the next few months, Marble Heights Diner flourished. The team became more cohesive, the customer experience improved, and word spread about the diner's welcoming atmosphere and excellent service. Lana's promotion to shift supervisor was made official, and she embraced her new role with enthusiasm. She organized team meetings, suggested menu tweaks based on customer feedback, and even started a diner family fund, encouraging staff to contribute a small amount each month to help coworkers in need. When one of the dishwashers injured his hand and couldn't work for 2 weeks, Lana used the fund to cover his rent. The gesture moved the entire team, and from that point on, the diner truly felt like a family. Barron continued to visit quietly, watching the changes unfold. He never sought attention, content to remain in the background. But everyone knew that his influence was the invisible thread that held everything together. One evening, as he sat in his usual booth, Ron approached with a cup of coffee. "Mind if I join you?" "Not at all," Barron said, gesturing to the seat across from him. Ron set the coffee down and leaned back, a satisfied smile on his face. "I've been in this business for over 20 years. Seen a lot of ups and downs. But what's happening here now, it's different. It's special." Barron nodded. "It's not about the food. It's about the people. Give them a little trust, a little room to grow, and they'll surprise you every time." Ron raised his coffee cup in a mock toast. "To surprises, then?" "To second chances," Barron replied, clinking his cup against Ron's. Months later, Lana stood outside the diner, watching as the morning sun bathed the building in soft light. She took a deep breath, feeling a deep sense of peace and pride. This place had become her second home, a place where she had grown in ways she never expected. As she walked back inside, she glanced at table 6, Barron's usual spot. Though he wasn't there that morning, she knew he'd be back. And when he did, she'd be ready with a fresh cup of coffee and a smile. Because in Marble Heights Diner, every cup told a story. And every story deserved a second chance. A few weeks later, the energy at Marble Heights Diner was electric. Word had spread far beyond the neighborhood about the diner's transformation. Regular customers came more often, and new faces filled the booths every morning. The air was alive with laughter and conversation, a testament to how far the place had come since that chaotic day when Lana accidentally spilled coffee on Barron. Lana stood near the counter, taking it all in. She had just finished her morning shift and leaned on the counter for a moment, reflecting. In the corner booth, a young family sat enjoying pancakes, while 2 elderly friends sipped their coffee, deep in conversation. It felt good to be part of something so vibrant, so alive. Then the door opened, and Barron walked in. He nodded in greeting to Lana as he made his way to his usual booth, the one by the window with the best view of the street outside. Lana grabbed a pot of fresh coffee and walked over, a grin on her face. "You're early today," she said, filling his cup. Barron chuckled. "Thought I'd drop by before the lunch rush. I wanted to check on you and see how things are going." "Well, you came on a good day," she said. "We've been busier than ever. I think your second chance philosophy has worked wonders for this place." Barron took a sip of his coffee, savoring the rich aroma. "It's not just a philosophy. It's how you build trust. People are at their best when they feel like someone believes in them." Lana nodded, feeling the weight of those words. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I won't forget that." As the morning moved on, Barron quietly observed the bustling diner. Every small detail told a story, the way the kitchen crew worked seamlessly together, the way Lana guided her team with steady confidence, the way customers laughed and stayed a little longer just to soak in the warm atmosphere. It wasn't just a business anymore. It had become a community. Ron walked over, wiping his hands on a towel. "Hey, Barron. Got a second?" "Sure," Barron said, setting down his cup. Ron pulled up a chair, lowering his voice. "So, I've been thinking. Lana's been doing an incredible job. She's grown into a real leader here. I was wondering, how would you feel about promoting her to assistant manager?" Barron raised an eyebrow. "Assistant manager? That's a big step." "I know," Ron said. "But I think she's ready. She's got the respect of the whole team, and she's proven she can handle the pressure. I can't think of anyone better for the job." Barron leaned back, considering it. He had been watching Lana closely for months, and Ron was right. She had gone above and beyond, not just doing her job but lifting up everyone around her. "I think it's a great idea," Barron said finally. "Let's offer it to her." Later that afternoon, Ron pulled Lana aside. "You got a minute?" he asked. "Sure," she said, following him into the back office. Ron shut the door and sat down across from her, his expression serious but kind. "I've been thinking about everything you've done here lately. You've stepped up in ways I didn't expect, and I couldn't be prouder." Lana shifted nervously. "Thanks, Ron. That means a lot." "It's more than just words," he said, leaning forward. "I want to offer you the assistant manager position." Lana's eyes widened. "Wait, seriously?" "Seriously," Ron said with a grin. "You've earned it." For a moment, she was speechless. Memories of her first shaky days at the diner flashed through her mind, how she had felt overwhelmed and unsure of herself. And now, here she was, being offered a leadership role she never thought she'd deserve. "But I don't know what to say," she stammered. "Thank you. Really. You don't need to say anything," Ron said. "Just keep doing what you're doing." When the shift ended, Lana walked back out to the front of the diner. Barron was still there, his laptop open on the table, reviewing something on the screen. "I guess I owe you another thank you," Lana said, stopping at his booth. Barron glanced up, smiling. "Why's that?" "Ron just offered me the assistant manager position." "Ah," Barron said, closing his laptop. "Congratulations. You've earned it." "You keep saying that," Lana said, laughing softly. "But I wouldn't have earned anything without your encouragement." Barron leaned forward, his expression serious but kind. "It wasn't my encouragement that got you here, Lana. It was your own hard work. I just gave you a little push." Lana's smile faded into something softer, more thoughtful. "Still, it means a lot." "Thank you." "You're welcome," Barron said. "Now, go celebrate. You've got a lot to be proud of." Over the following months, Lana thrived in her new role. The diner continued to grow in popularity, drawing in customers from all over the city. The staff worked together like a family, and Lana became the heart of it all, a steady presence who always knew how to lift someone's spirits or solve a problem on the fly. She introduced new ideas, like a weekend brunch menu and monthly customer appreciation days. She even organized a charity fundraiser that raised thousands of dollars for a local shelter. Barron watched it all with quiet pride, knowing that the diner was in good hands. One evening, Barron sat at his booth, reflecting on how far things had come. It had been almost a year since the day Lana accidentally spilled coffee on him, a moment that could have gone terribly wrong but instead had become the catalyst for something truly special. Ron walked over and sat down across from him, a knowing smile on his face. "You've been here a lot lately." Barron shrugged. "I like seeing the place thrive." "It's more than that," Ron said. "You've built something here, something real. And it's not just the diner. It's the people. You've changed lives, Barron." Barron smiled softly. "It wasn't just me. It was all of us." "Still," Ron said, raising his coffee cup, "here's to second chances. And to building something that lasts." "To second chances," Barron echoed, clinking his cup against Ron's. As the sun set over Marble Heights, the lights inside the diner glowed warmly, a beacon of comfort and connection. People came and went, sharing meals and stories, building memories that would last a lifetime. And at the heart of it all, Lana stood behind the counter, greeting customers with a warm smile, ready to pour another cup of coffee. Because every cup told a story. And in Marble Heights Diner, second chances were always on the menu.